Do you remember when you were young? Do you remember getting your first television? Do you remember getting your first cordless telephone? And do you remember when the astronauts went to the moon? Oh, golly. Back in those days, in the 1980s, we were told that human knowledge was doubling every 7 or 8 years. It had never, ever grown at that rate of speed throughout all of human history. And today they tell us it's doubling every 3 to 4 years. And it's doubling from an ever-increasing base. Knowledge is growing astronomically, faster than, I know much of it I can't adapt to. Those doggone cell phones and those ultra-high TV remote controls. Channel Information has said on several different occasions that when other planets have gone through what we're going through, this just rapid increase of knowledge, that 3/4 of them end up either destroying the planet or making the planet uninhabitable for life. And the Earth is noted throughout the galaxy and beyond as being the most life-friendly planet that there is. There are, they estimate, between 1 and 2 million different forms of life on the planet. An unprecedented number, and many of these species exist only here throughout the galaxy. And so there's a lot of concern that this planet be preserved, that the life on the planet be preserved. And they're concerned because we have had the technology for the last 50 or so years to destroy life on the planet. And Channel Information has said repeatedly that we're over the hump because some of our friendly space brothers and sisters have deactivated atomic weapons. They will not work if somebody tries to employ them, which is good because how many countries do we have that have atomic weapons and the ability to deliver them any place in the world? So they said, we're safe. The chances are 99-point-something% that we're going to successfully go through this transition that we're in the midst of, and we're going to survive it. So that's the good news. The reason that we've needed this help and the reason that these multiple planets have destroyed themselves is because their technological skills and knowledge grew faster than their spiritual knowledge grew. And certainly, I think you would all agree that we have that imbalance present on the earth. What is needed for our own growth and for the growth and evolution of humanity is we need to grow spiritually. And if we can grow enough to catch up with our technology, what kind of a world would we have? It'd be like heaven on earth, wouldn't it? And that's what we are here to do. It's not going to be done for us. This is a do-it-yourself project. If someone does it for you, what do you learn? Okay, right, Ray, nothing. So we're here, we have to learn to do it ourselves. Well, how can we do that? What can we do to grow spiritually? Well, one of the really simple answers, though for some people difficult to do, and that's to learn to quiet our mind, to go into the meditative state. You see, the conscious mind gets all of its information from out there, from our 5 senses. Whereas our subconscious mind, yes, it can get information from out there, but it gets a lot of information from within here. And to work with the subconscious, which is, they estimate, between 85 and 90% of our mind, we have to go within. And if we go within with our conscious mind still active, we can remember what we're getting. Often we don't remember our dreams because it's just subconscious. But in the meditative state, which is the alpha state, the state of falling asleep, if we can deliberately put ourselves into that state, we can consciously be aware of what's being given to our subconscious mind. And in that state, you can contact higher aspects of yourself. You can contact the spirit realm. You can be aware of for light workers, the 25 to 30 spirit beings that make up your spirit family. You can ask questions, you can get answers, and with enough practice in that state and raising your consciousness high enough, you can then do what Jesus said you can do, and that is everything that he did and even more. And that's my personal goal, to be able to do not all that he did, but at least some of what he did. And he came, I believe, not to save us from sin. I mean, we don't need to be saved. We have a soul that is divine within us, and it can never be disconnected from the Creator. But he came to show us what our potential is, what we're capable of becoming and doing. And I believe that. And because I think I believe it, I want to share an experience with you. September 2017. That year, there were 4 major hurricanes that hit the United States. And the worst of them was one called Irma. And Irma devastated Puerto Rico. They still haven't fully recovered from it. It touched a little bit of Cuba, and it was headed for the Gulf and for Florida. Now, there are 5 systems that are used to track and predict the direction and wind velocity, etc., of hurricanes. And they are almost never in complete agreement. They will have some similarities, but in this case, all 5 were saying exactly the same thing. It was going to enter the Gulf. It would make contact with southwest Florida. It would move up the entire peninsula as a hurricane, and it would be devastating. The people in Florida took it seriously. We spent 4 months of the year down in Tarpon Springs, Florida, on the Gulf, and we just dearly love the place we stay. We have a beautiful daughter and son-in-law that for the last number of years, they give it to us to use for 4 months as a Christmas gift. Boy, how do you beat that? Phenomenal. And we love it. It's on a pond. The bird life is phenomenal. The community is just a beautiful clubhouse, an Olympic-sized pool, and great people, and we just love being there. So anyway, this hurricane, it's on its way, and an hour before it was to make land contact in Naples, I'm in meditation, and I'm asking that the place that we dearly love in Tarpon Springs be protected. And the voice within me said loudly, "You're asking for the wrong thing." Oh, what should I be asking for? Focus on the hurricane. And so I did. And immediately, I'm out of body, I'm above the hurricane. I can see the hurricane is 400 miles in width, winds 185 miles an hour. And dancing on top of the clouds were hundreds of what I call dark lords. And these are really negative people that when people make their transition and choose not to go into heaven, they're right there to recruit them. They tell them how dangerous it is and that they will protect them. And if they join that family, the Dark Lord gets to take most of their energy. And that's what they want. They want the power of people's energy. Well, they're dancing on these clouds because it's party time. So much fear. I mean, the roads out of Florida are average speed on the interstate was 15 miles an hour. They were just that clogged, and so much fear. And they were having a party. There was a banquet for them. And anyway, I won't deal with dark lords. They're too powerful. So I called in the archangels, and the archangels came in, and they removed all of the dark lords. And what happens is they give them a choice. You can either go to the light school, which is very difficult, very intense. They have to do a 180-degree reversal in order to get out of the light school. That is, they have to become beings of light instead of beings of power, selfishness, greed, and service to self. Or they can go to another lower dimensional planet and they will take on a life form at the level of their consciousness. A snake, an insect, whatever, all right? Most of them choose to go to the light school. Well, anyway, they are gone. And when they clear out, then I find myself, I'm down in the hurricane, right near the eye. The wind's 185 miles an hour. And the air divas, now divas are nature spirits, and they're all different kinds of divas. And the air divas, honest to gosh, they felt like they were in Disney World. They were just so excited. Most had never moved that fast before. It was so exciting and thrilling for them. And they were just having an absolute ball. And I watched them, and then I finally said, "You guys are having a great time, aren't you?" Yeah, we are. And I said, "Yeah, but you're about to make landfall, and you're going to be hurting some of the divas on Earth. You're going to be knocking trees over and killing them, blowing the flowers and the bushes over. And you're going to be destroying some people's houses." I said, "I know your job is to do some cleansing. And also the wind stirs up the waves and oxygenates the ocean for the animals that live there." But I said, "Is that what you want?" And they kind of looked at each other and they hung their head. They were ashamed. They hadn't thought about that. They were so caught up in their excitement that they had not thought about the consequences. And I said, "I know you've got a job to do, but can you do it more gently, a way that it won't be so harmful?" And again, they looked at each other and nodded their head. Now, again, that was 1 hour before Irma, force 5, winds 185 miles an hour, touched ground in Naples. When it hit Naples, the winds were 135, force 4. And as it moved up the peninsula, it lost its power. By the time it got mid-state up to Tampa, St. Pete, it was down to a tropical storm. When it hit Tarpon Springs, which is just the north end of Pinellas County that St. Pete is in, the only damage it did to our place, it blew off a dozen shingles from the ridge vent at the peak of the roof. That's the power that we have. Now, I did not do that. I was a factor in that, but first of all, it was my soul. It was the divine within me that was doing it, and the power that it was using to do that. There were millions of people praying, and it was able to consolidate that prayer energy to the point that that I had the experiences I had and was able to communicate it. And when you pray or when you meditate, you want to direct the message to that being, those beings that can make the change you want. So to pray to God is, well, the whole universe is God. It's not focused. It's scattered energy. If you focus it, in this case, to the air divas, they were the ones that were the problem, and they were the ones that could make the change that would solve the pending problem. If you connect with your soul, and when you do, well, I want to back up a little bit here and build on what Ortrun said and what Linda Massad's song said that you sang for us. In your meditation, you might want to consider starting by opening all of your chakras. The chakras that are on the lower half of your body, they project down. Project them down to the very core of the earth. And if you can, connect those chakras with the earth's soul. And have that energy move up into your heart, which is the heart is the center of the chakra, 3 lower, 3 higher. And then with your higher chakras, project them up as high as you can. And if you can reach it, reach the creator of the universe. And you can certainly reach higher aspects of your soul. Your soul is a fragment of a higher soul that we call the Christed soul, which is a fragment of your I am soul, which is functioning on the seventh dimension. And you can go all of the way up to the Creator, but go as high up as you can go. And have that energy come in. So you've got the energy of the earth, you've got the energy of the spirit, the higher spirit realms connecting in your heart. And then talk to your soul and ask your soul to please join your heart, mind, and when it does, your heart becomes what is called the high heart. The high heart. The high mind. So you've got the heart and the high heart, the mind and the high mind, and you connect them. You've got the high heart and mind, and in that state, wow. It's not, you're going to be the channel, you're going to ground the energy that's going to be sent through you from the earth and from above. And you can direct it and focalize it to the person, if you're working with a healing, to a situation, a circumstance, an event, an object, whatever it is needs help. Focus that energy. It's extraordinarily high frequency. It's extraordinarily effective. It's working at the very, very highest end of the fifth dimension, and in that state you can perform miracles, even weakening hurricanes. That's what Jesus came to teach us. That's what our potential is. And the church doesn't tell you that. The schools don't tell you that. Most all of our society works only out of that little conscious mind. If you work with your full mind, work with your mental body, with your emotional body as one single unit, and then connect it with your soul. That's what we're all here to learn. And that is the way that we can raise the consciousness of an entire planet and an entire human race, and that's going to impact all of these millions of life forms that are on the planet. And as we do that, that's an invitation to those who overlight us from the higher dimensions of space. We're ready for you. Come and visit us. Make contact. Share some of what you are with us. And that's how it's going to happen, and that's when it's going to happen, when we reach that level of consciousness. The fact that you're here is a very positive sign for you, for us, for this community, for the world. And the fact that the children being born, in my experience, the vast majority of them are now coming in with a higher activated DNA and with potential, with IQs, 130 to 140 usually, versus the normal 100, with sensitivity to communicate with the spirit realm. And the fact that they're coming in such vast numbers, we've got backup. And we're laying the foundation for the new earth, if you will, and they are the ones that are going to do much of the building of this new earth. So that's part of the reason that we're here, but we can't do it with just our humanness. We need to connect that with our divine essence, and then it will be done. It is being done. Thank you. God bless.